Hey, what's up, YouTube? So I just want to talk about my review about the Janome 500E. So even though I had it for maybe a week, I'm going to explain my experience with the Janome Memory Craft 500E. The reason why I bought it, because of the price, and the price was affordable to me, and the hoop size was 7.9 by 11, and I think that's great. But once I had the machine, these are a couple things I experienced using it. Now, it does do embroidery really nicely, but the issue I had was using the large hoop frame. It was difficult for me to get the hoop frame underneath the foot. Another issue I had with it, I didn't understand how to thread it. I thread it and it would break. But after I watched the DVD and I saw how they thread it, I didn't have that problem no more. It's just before you could start embroidery, you have to put tension or hold on to the thread and let the machine start, and then you won't have an issue. Another thing that I come in problems with the machine is that there's a limit of how many stitches the machine could do. So I had an embroidery design that was about roughly 55,000 stitches. It wouldn't allow me to import it to the machine, but I had another embroidery that was about 20,000 stitches, and that worked. So what I realized is that if the file is too large and you have maybe over 50,000 stitches, it won't import to the machine. So I called the place where I bought it from, and they told me I was telling them the issue with the thread breaking. That's another thing. When I wanted to do a satin stitch on the border, like a small satin stitch, it would break. So I called them. I said I'm going to return it. They say I need to use a bigger needle. But I feel like regardless of the needle size, it should work. It shouldn't matter what stabilizer you use, what needle it is. It should be able to embroidery. Maybe you have to slow the speed or increase it, or maybe you do have to change the needle, but I feel it should work regardless. But I said I don't want it. After I experienced that, I was like, I'm not going to try to keep this machine, because you get like 60 days before you could return it, and I need a machine right now. I couldn't wait. So I just returned it. And they told me that I have to make sure I return it in the box they sent it to me in. And it had to have everything back, or I wouldn't get my money back. It had to have the phone, the box, and everything. So fine. I told him my situation with me importing the designs to the machine. He told me that machine is not made for that, to import that many stitches. So I asked him how much is the maximum that it could do, and they didn't tell me. Because I'm curious. So if it can import 50,000 stitches, what could it import? Because I know it was able to do the 20,000 stitches, but when I wanted to do that little detail with a satin stitch, the needle would break. Maybe if I had a larger needle, because at the time I was using two different needles that it came with the machine, 11 by 75 and 14 by, I don't know, the other side, maybe 95. But still it wouldn't work. Still the thread break. But they was sure that 12 by 80 needle would do the trick, but I didn't care no more. I was sending it back. And I was like, damn. Because I used my credit to get the machine, and now I have to send it back. I have to pay for shipment. And if I knew, I would have just get a brother or the baby lock. Now, I'm not saying this machine is bad, but I feel like this is like if it's going to do a large embroidery field like 11 by 8, which is quite large, they should be able to import a design that may have over 50,000 stitches or more. It should do that, but it doesn't. So if you want simple designs and you're not going to do large files, now if I had shrunk that design to maybe a 4x4 size hoop or maybe a 5x7, it probably could have done it. But it was made for the 7x11 size, and it wouldn't do it. It would not import it. So I'm just letting y'all know, even when y'all buy the machine, y'all gotta make sure it can handle a lot of stitches. I'm very curious about the PE 800 because nobody has issues with those machines. It probably could import large stitch files. So it's probably an amazing embroidery machine. But your hoop size is only 5x7. So that is my review. I just want to do that review about the Janome Memory Craft 500E. I'm curious to know about the 550. The 550 probably could import more files. It probably could handle that because their embroidery hoop size is like, I think, a 9x14, I think. But that is my review. I just want to do a quick review about the Janome embroidery machine.